Your cancer was not only yours, it was all of ours. And you know that.
So you're playing my cancer card now.
Your relationship with your parents is not any of my business. When I was being born in Mission Viejo, California, my dad got under center. Went ready. Here we go. Set. Alert. Alert, alert, alert. Went into shotgun. Clapped his hands. I'm not going to do it. The mic's going to pick that up. Caught me and my two very Mexican parents, neither of whom spoke English, somehow did not realize that their biological child was also going to be Mexican. So he made eye contact with me, said, yeah, slightly darker than I would have liked it to be, dropped me, and I never saw either of them again. I might be lying a little bit, but all of that is to say that I didn't have a relationship with my parents after growing out of being a child. And so in my teenage years, in my early adulthood years, when people would talk about thinking their parents are bad people, their parents are homophobic, racist, whatever, in my head, it was so easy to say, cut them out. Stop talking to them. You don't need them. Because that's what I knew. I knew that I didn't have parents, and so I didn't have to deal with them being problematic. And so if your parents are problematic, it was probably easy enough for you to also just not have parents. And as I've gotten older, I've realized that people's relationships with their parents are so much more complex. And some people are willing to deal with their parents being awful, abusive, people who turn the stove on and then go take a nap. I've learned that people keep their parents in their lives because they are their parents, and that's a relationship I don't have to understand to nod my head at. Cool. And so I've gone from, you don't need your parents if they're going to be bad people, you're a bad person too for keeping them around when I was 18, 19, 20, to maybe if your parents hate Mexicans and you and I are dating, maybe don't put me in situations where I have to hang out with your parents. Cool? Or if you have a gay best friend and your parents are homophobic, maybe don't put them in the same room together. I've come as far as your relationship with your parents is not anyone else's business, but if you want to have a relationship with your problematic parents, you should probably do the world a favor of keeping everybody safe from those parents. I'm exhausted of being in a room where people just have to tell me that I'm one of the smart ones. First off, I'm not. Second, I could beat you up. You're old, you're 80, your name's Gertrude. Try something. That was a move that made LeBron cry. God, that's such a dumb reference. Enter the Necessary Conversation podcast, Family Therapy Through Politics. It's a podcast where our hosts, Chad, Haley, bring on their parents and try to get them to understand that colored people, wild way to say that, should also be allowed basic human rights. Get them to understand that Democrats are not burning down random cities for fun. Try to help them understand that they are being lied to by a lot of the politicians that they admire. Also, I'm confused a little bit. I grew up thinking Republicans were like super anti-politicians. All politicians and lawyers are bad people. They're all going to hell. Right? Like, I am pretty sure I saw that Family Guy clip. So I don't know when half the country decided to start becoming fanboys of people just because they're representatives or wear ties behind a fake desk on a podcast. Anyway, Chad and Haley want to have a relationship with their parents. They want to be able to sit together for Thanksgiving. They want to be able to exchange gifts on Christmas. They want to be able to look each other in the eye and say, hey, we're not perfect, but we're trying. And so Chad, my cleft palate brother, decided, hey, what if we just start a podcast with our parents where maybe we don't agree on everything, but if we're pushing towards progress, if we're slowly teaching them what it's like to care about other people, it would be easier to be able to spend time together. And Chad and Haley did exactly what it is you're supposed to not do when you have these hateful, overbearing, way too opinionated parents. The very least you could do is not shove them in people's faces, especially not people who are marginalized and being attacked by them. The very least you could do is keep people safe from your parents. And so what they do is they put them out into the world. And it is so bad and so annoying that I've had them blocked on every social platform for the last 7 months, maybe 6, 7 months. They kept popping up on my feed, and it's just pure rage bait. Like, I don't need to know the opinions of two elderly white people who hate everyone that doesn't look like them. I really don't. Keep it in your house. This isn't even one of those moments where I'm like, oh, if you're racist, I want to know so that I could avoid you. I can't avoid you. You keep popping up on my FYP. And I saw this pointed out on Reddit. Hey all, has anyone listened to The Necessary Conversation by Chad? The premise is pretty wild. Chad sits down every week with his extremely MAGA parents who have unapologetically wild takes on, well, just about everything. When I first stumbled onto it, I thought, oh cool, maybe he's trying to bridge political divides or expose their thinking to daylight. But after realizing it's been running since 2022, they haven't budged an inch. I started feeling like the whole thing is just performative. It honestly feels like they're stuck in a loop where Chad pushes back, his parents dig in and nothing changes. And let's be real, if his parents are getting a cut of the podcast revenue, which they probably are, then what incentive is there to actually change? If anything, there's a financial incentive to stay inflammatory. At what point does challenging your parents just turn into giving them a bigger platform? You could have just kept it at home, big guy. You could have disagreed with your parents, hated absolutely everything they stood for, sat down for, I've never seen them stand up, and just continued living on with your life. But instead, it is gross to have to just sit through them and be rage baited by people I don't even know or am I in any way related to. Just because you want to find some nice way to get them into your life. The parents are obviously whack, but if I sat here and just talked about every person who's ever been racist on the internet, we'd be here forever. The problem is these two much older people deciding that in order to have a relationship with their parents, they have to subject the rest of the world to them. Chill. I don't want to know. And also, generally, what does this do? It doesn't humanize your parents. Bro, your parents are evil. Not gonna lie, I really hate your parents. Your parents are really bad people. I'm not skipping comments. I'm literally just scrolling down. This hurts me so much. I hate your mom. Your cancer was not only yours, it was all of ours. I tapped 2 hands to play Darbo. I'm so sorry, man. And the one time in the video where she says, I said something that I probably shouldn't have, is the closest she'll ever get to an apology. Yeah. So while I'm sitting here saying I don't understand this man and his sister subjecting us to their narcissistic MAGA parents, it's exactly what I'm about to do to you. We're going to watch some of the clips, starting with the cancer one that I showed earlier. Mind you, I'm pretty sure these are the people telling you not to say anything if you don't got nothing nice to say.
When is it appropriate to play the cancer card? Because you very much did say to me, don't play the cancer card when I was talking about myself having cancer and Trump cutting cancer research funding.
But you were using your cancer in regard to the kid, and it was like opposite. You were doing opposite. I don't even know how to explain it.
I can't explain my rationale for this, but I think you shouldn't be upset with cancer research funding being cut simply because you had cancer and it might have affected you. I wish that I had a much straighter attention span, but it reminds me of that woman currently on TikTok, terrified of what's going to happen with her body because she's not allowed to get an abortion in her state and her baby is not viable. And she was sitting there crying, saying that she voted for Trump, she voted for this. She didn't understand that late-term abortion was much more about the baby's viability than a haha, I don't want to have this baby. And so she's sitting there crying, saying that her doctor is telling her to go to another state to get the procedure done. And her husband's like, nope, not in my house. Oh, of course you have a problem with him cutting cancer research. You had cancer. Why can't you just be normal, Chad?
I probably shouldn't have said that. I probably shouldn't have.
Absolutely the closest she will ever come to apologizing for anything. Just like every estranged mom I've seen. Well, I'm sorry you felt that way. Well, I guess I'm just the worst mom ever, dude. No, I didn't feed you for 20 years, but what was I supposed to do? Share my food? Disgusting. No, I didn't hold you the entire time you were a baby. Was I supposed to? You had cooties and I didn't have my cooties shot. Circle, circle, dot, dot. Why are you the ungrateful kid I got?
Your cancer was not only yours, it was all of ours. And you know that.
Your cancer was so hard on me. Chad, baby poo, if you had died, do you know how much attention I would have got? Instead, selfishly, you survived. And now what, you want other kids to survive too? Think about all the moms. Think about all the sympathy posts. Think about all the likes, comments, shares they're gonna get. And selfishly, you want to take that away from them?
So you're playing my cancer card now.
It affected all of us
Of course.
in regard to I'm not who was on medicine, who wasn't. Okay, that's where I'm going.
The only difference in your son having cancer was that he was receiving treatment. You think you went through the same thing? I'm not saying it's not hard. It absolutely is to care for someone while they're going through chemo, any sort of therapy. It is. It's taxing. It's difficult. It's not easy. I have no idea how much or how little she was helping, but it's not the most fun thing to do. But I wouldn't compare it to the people actually going through cancer. And I wouldn't say, yeah, well, like, maybe you were in a wheelchair, but I had to push it. So 50-50 there. It was just as bad for me as it was for you. And if you really, really didn't appreciate me during that time, why didn't you just walk away? I have a bald friend. That's the only time I'll say it's like him being bald and me having to like introduce him to other people as my friend is the only time where I'm like, this is as hard for me as it is for you. No, brother, please grow hair. It hurts me more than it hurts you. That was about my friend Matt. Doug, big content creator, and his mod together ate 153 chicken nuggets from McDonald's. Doug ate 100. His editor ate 53. Me and Matt are going to be together for TwitchCon over the weekend. I'm trying to convince the man to eat 154 with me, and he won't do it. So, Matt, if you're watching this, dog, I hope you go balder.
I think I was on medicine.
I think that was a rude question, whoever said that anyway.
What was the exact question? Do I want to know? I really don't. It sounds like it wasn't a rude question. It sounds like maybe the mom just doesn't want to have a moment of self-reflection. Oh, was I the bad guy? No. What a nasty question.
That's a nasty question.
Okay. So you're the victim on this one.
They don't know our family again. I can go through all this, but I won't. They don't know our family. They don't know how I really feel.
Sure.
That's all I'm saying about it.
So there is no appropriate time to play the cancer card. Is that your final conclusion?
Yep, done. Out.
A lot of this is them being like, oh, I might be wrong here. Nope, I'm done.
Mom, who do you blame for the shutdown?
The Democrats.
Why is that?
They wanted to include, it was an ungodly amount. I don't even know what the amount was, $1 billion for aid, healthcare to illegals.
In 2022, according to ABC News, emergency Medicaid for undocumented immigrants made up only about 0.4% total Medicaid spending at an average of about $10 per person. And according to NBC News, although states with larger undocumented populations spent approximately 15 times more per capita, emergency Medicaid still constituted less than 1% of overall Medicaid spending, even in states with large undocumented populations. You know, I could just show this, I guess. A Democratic bill pushing back on the Republican proposed Medicaid cuts is not seeking to change existing law barring people who are in the U.S. illegally from getting federal health care coverage. Instead, the disagreement is mainly centered on immigrants whom the federal government has decreed as lawfully present but who haven't formally been given legal status that is enforceable in court. An estimated 1.4 million people are considered to be lawfully present in the U.S. The government knows who they are, and many of them are going through the process of seeking legal status or green cards. How easy it would have been for her or the millions of people who are against this to just Google that. But also, let's say you, for whatever reason, are on vacation in Brazil. Maybe you want to see Big Jesus. You get off the plane, you stop at a crosswalk, there's a stop sign next to you. And so you decide to walk across knowing that there's a stop sign and you're safe. And someone randomly runs that stop sign and hits you. Should you then not be entitled to health care because you're not a Brazilian citizen? How would it make sense for any country to deny people emergency health care based on what? You don't know anything about them at that point. They could be illegally on vacation. They could be illegally in this country. Or they could be illegally in this country and should still be treated. No one's coming over the border and going, haha, now I can get dental. I don't have dental. When my eyes go, so do I. As soon as I can't see the baddies, I'm done. There's no good argument for being against emergency Medicaid for anyone. I don't care if they're illegal status or not.
That's not true.
Now, if you don't think we're paying for illegal health care right now.
What you've said is not true.
Okay, if you don't think yes, it is. If you don't think we're paying for health care to illegals.
Yeah, so the biggest problem is arguing with people who will in no way be convinced that they're wrong. You can show them all the evidence you want. If these types of people are convinced that they're right, then they're right. And nothing you do is ever going to change their mind. And really, all you had to do about it was not shoved in the face of regular people trying to scroll through TikTok. Thank you for the rage bait. I am so glad to have someone else's parents with dumb ideas to deal with because I don't have my own. Thank you.
Then you are crazy. If an illegal right here on my street would walk across and accidentally get hit by a car, the ambulance would be called and they would be taken to the hospital.
And what is the problem? And what is the problem? And what is the problem? I am already so dismissive of people who dehumanize other people. She won't call them people. She won't call them by their nationality or by their names. They are, in their most pristine form, illegals. That's it. They're illegals. They shouldn't even exist in my land, right? What's her name? Like Betty Lou or something? Yeah, her name's Mary Lou. I had to check.
They would be killed for. They would be cared for. Who pays for that? The American people.
Yes. Yes. Congrats, you've discovered taxes. You also pay for other public services. I don't drive anymore, but I'm not sitting here yelling about how my taxes are being used for roads. Mary Lou, if an illegal drinks out of a public water fountain, your taxes pay for that water to be filtered. Oh no. Dude, imagine if an illegal walks across a park. Where'd that grass come from? Your taxes, Mary Lou. And I'm supposed to have like a good faith conversation with these people. I'm supposed to just nod my head and go, I didn't think of that. Yeah. No. We should round up all brown people and then just make sure they're here, like, legally. Make sure they were here right. No. The border didn't cross them when the U.S. took half of Mexico. You're so right.
Who pays for it if it's somebody who's uninsured but a U.S. citizen? The American people.
What Republicans do not want is the people that came across the border that are healthy, that are illegals, to be given, here's your card, go get your free health care.
Literally, who's doing that? How are people doing that? Let me do that. Show me who it is that I have to go up to and say, hey, by the way, I'm illegal, just to be able to go to physical therapy again.
They don't do that. That does not exist. That doesn't exist.
Okay.
You believe it does because the Republicans are saying that. But that is literally a lie.
I think she just feels vindicated when she hears things like this. I think she just has these ideas, which I think is most of them, that are awful and so hateful. And she's going to sit back and just hold on to them until someone else says them and she goes, yeah, I've been thinking that. I'm right. No. I like that they speak their mind. Not everyone does that nowadays. I'm only going to show you one more clip because I'm going to get more and more nonverbal. What do I have to say to someone who won't listen? I'm old. I'm tired. If I disagree with your very soft idea that you have that my people shouldn't exist or should be put down, I'm just not going to deal with you. I'm not going to put you on a podcast and say, all right, mom, thanks for coming on. And I sure as hell am not going to watch that for what? My own entertainment? This is pure rage bait. It sucks. It's awful. I don't want to listen to this. I don't want to stare at this man's face. I don't want to stare at his mom's face, his dad's face, any of them. Like, I am so lucky that my parents didn't want me. So lucky that I don't have to deal with them. But if there's one thing that you can say about bad people, it's that they're good Christians, right?
When a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself. Do you agree with this?
Is the foreign...
Do you agree? And before she's going to say yes or no, she has to make sure of a couple things. One, was it said by someone she will agree with? Two, something about the foreigner. Like, is a foreigner here illegally? You know, there's a difference between a legal foreigner and one of them illegals.
Is the foreigner... Well, he would not be an American. He wouldn't be an illegal.
Okay, answer the question, please. Please.
I want to just complete this quote and let you know where it's from.
It's probably from Donald Trump.
Yes, the foreigner-loving Donald Trump, which he is, right, because his wife. But also, really, the man empowering you to hate immigrants and then hide it behind only the illegals is the guy you think use the word love like this.
Quite the opposite. When a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. It's from Leviticus 19:33, the Bible.
Okay.
These are the words of your God.
Okay.
Trump is going completely against them. You see that, correct?
He's getting illegals out of our country that did not come here the correct way.
My people have been here since long before yours were committing incest. All right, Mary Lou? The only right way to get into a country is to force yourself in and murder the people who are already there. Right? That's what you did. And then wait generations, 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 generations later and say, I mean, we've been here as far back as I can remember, at least like 1930, back when America was great and I didn't have to share water fountains, whether or not my taxes paid for them. I am now forever indebted to my parents for having the foresight of leaving me before something like this ever happened, for having the foresight of beating me as a child and then going, all right, well, I need a better challenge. And then my dad like moves up the Mortal Kombat mountain. Sorry I didn't fight back when I was 9. I'll try again harder next time. This is, again, just so dumb. And if you made it this far, you understand that it's just inadvertent rage bait. It is people I don't want to hear talking under the guise of, well, maybe I can change their mind. They've lived like this for 70 years and I haven't made any sort of movement in the last couple of years, but like, you know, maybe one day.
How are you doing this? God, your Christian God, literally says when a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them, love them as yourself. It doesn't say anything about if they came here legally or did they get the right papers. None of that. It just says treat a foreigner as you would treat yourself. Love them as you love yourself.
Imagine meeting someone, shaking their hand and being like, you here illegal? Or did you come here the right way? Is that the first question you ask people? Also, do you ask Canadians that? My girlfriend's Canadian. Canadian born. No one's ever going to ask her if she got here the right way. Never, 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 because she's a tiny white woman. Do you know how many times I've been asked where I'm from? Dog, I was born in Mission Viejo, California. I lived my entire adolescence in California, in the United States. But no, somehow, some way, every time I meet someone, there's one person in the group that's like, so where are you from? California. Where are you really from? You got me. Southern California. Oh, where are your parents from? It is so much easier to let them know that I don't have parents than to be like, oh, my mom's from Aguascalientes. My dad's from Sinaloa. It's easier to just be like, oh, I have no idea. They beat me and they left when I was a kid. And just make it uncomfortable than to have to deal with these persistent questions that are never, ever, ever nice. I don't go outside anymore, partially because I don't want to deal with those people. But now it's come to my own TikTok page, dog. Why are you doing this?
But what if the foreigners do not treat us the way that they should treat us too?
In every group of people, there are bad people. In every group of people, there are bad people. In every group of people, there are people you are going to agree with completely and disagree with entirely. In every group of people. Just like this middle-aged white man has 2 white parents who are awful to be around and awful to listen to. But I've met plenty of old white people who aren't. Yes, some people, some foreigners, whether they're from Canada, Mexico, Guatemala, Brazil, the UK, Australia, will do bad things, will have bad ideas. Absolutely. And so will other Americans. So will your neighbors. So will your children, your parents. There are bad people everywhere. But when you say the word foreigners in place of Mexicans and people from South America, also Central America, but they don't understand the difference, you're just using it as an excuse to be racist. There's a taco truck at the end of the street here. And when I order in Spanish. It's easier for all of us. I get my food, I walk away. You know what I've never, ever, ever considered? Whether or not they're here legally. It genuinely changes nothing. Oh, Max, but your taxes, dog. YouTube is my only job. I pay so much more in taxes than I think I should. Am I doing them wrong? But in my head, when I'm like, where are they going? I'm like, okay, every person that I know personally who joined the military is just sitting in Germany playing video games. Not, oh no, the Guatemalan boy who got ran over is going to receive healthcare, bro. No, not from my taxes.
How are you doing this? This is the Bible.
Oh, quit putting me in a little box.
What do you mean in a little box? Do you agree with the Bible?
Yes.
What Trump is doing is opposed to what the Bible says to do.
How many hours did you stay up just to entrap me on this one?
He didn't at all, because that Bible verse is going viral on Twitter right now. So congrats. Not only is it just rage bait, but it's also actually pretty low effort. This is stupid. Your relationship with your parents is none of my business, and it never will be. That being said, stop putting these racist, awful people providing unnecessary commentary into everyone else's face just for the sake of like, well, they're learning, or like I should be able to have a relationship with them because, like, you know, I might be able to teach them something. It is too late. It is too late. It is too late. It is too late. They will die having been the people they lived as. Hateful, awful. Close your front door. Eat with them. Stay with them. I somehow didn't even show up a clip of his dad, and his dad's worse. So, surprise, maybe we're making a part 2. Keep it away from everyone else. Do the world a favor, a socialist one that's good for everyone and not just your family. And keep your family away from us, dog. How stupid is it to have to sit here when I'm mindlessly doom scrolling, just hearing Ashby go, I did not have sexual relations with that tree. I had it with that one. Haha. All Mexicans should die. Where did that come from? Oh, that's it. That's it. That's all I have. That's all I have. That's all I have. Do you think that when he had his cleft palate surgery or his cancer treatment, that his parents straight paid for it? Or was there some help from the federal government? But I'm going to call it there. Sorry for the rage bait. I was also subjected to it. So thank you for spending time with me. My favorite thing to do. And you're my favorite people to do it with. I will be at TwitchCon over the weekend. So if you'll be in San Diego at the convention center, feel free to say hi to me. This is what I look like. All right, get out of here. Go before I do to you what my parents did to me. And leave you first. All right, that had nothing to do with the fist. Sorry. That makes it sound like my parents fisted me. And I made an incest joke about the white people, so I don't like that one.